My life, waiting for the beep. There we go. So today, Tuesday, our lesson's going to be on media literacy and cancel culture. And then, just like I said yesterday, you get a choice today if you want to talk with other people toward the end about these concepts, or if you just want to think on your own and come up with your own thoughts on them. Both are equally good grade wise and learning wise. So that's today. Tomorrow, we'll talk about those anxiety strategies, what to do if you or someone else is having a panic attack, or if you or someone else is limbic, in other words, an extreme emotional state. And then Friday, as you know, you get a work day. So I'm going to open up your work for today, show you where you're going to put your answers. So we already did task 1 yesterday, hopefully. If not, you absolutely can finish that today. Okay, task 2 for today. So this reiterates the directions I just gave you about you can work with other people on answering these or on your own. So first, I'll tell you the definitions of these two things. And keep in mind, I feel a little bit silly telling you folks these definitions because you live in these concepts more than I do. You're of a different generation. But bear with me. So first, I'll give you the definition of media literacy. You can either write down the definition as I give it to you or write in your own words. Same thing for cancel culture. So write the definition I give you or your own. And then for today, I kept it simple so that you have plenty of time if you need time to get week 8 done. Here, you're going to write at least one thought. It says though here, but it should say thought. Write at least one thought or conclusion for each of these things. So this can be your opinion or what you think will happen with this or what you've noticed. Really, you can write anything. One thing for media literacy, and then one thing for cancel culture. I'm looking for your thinking and learning here, not looking for perfect sentences. So let's talk about what is media literacy. Let's give you a definition. All right. So according to the Center for Media Literacy, I felt they had the most inclusive definition. There's quite a few of these out here. This in education, especially, is a growing thing. States are adding more standards concerning this type of literacy, which makes sense because it's the most growing type of literacy there is. So, media literacy is a 21st century approach to education. It can also be considered just a 21st century reality. So, it provides a framework to access, analyze, evaluate, create, and participate with messages in a variety of forms, from print to video to the internet. So, in other words, media literacy is all about acknowledging that students evaluate more than just print. They deal with online, they deal with video, teaching students how to analyze these things just like you would analyze a poem or a piece of literature is important so that people, frankly, aren't, how do I put this, inane consumers. We all know a person who falls for whatever they see on the internet. Media literacy is to help prevent more of that. So, for instance, my mother, anytime she sees something that's satiric online, she thinks it's real at first. All right, so media literacy builds an understanding of the role of media in society, as well as essential skills of inquiry and self-expression necessary for citizens of democracy. I would really, if I was a student writing this definition, that last sentence is what I would write. So there's a couple key takeaways from this definition. So media literacy is all about messages and self-expression, also known as branding. I'm sure you've heard that term. Media literacy isn't just creating online presentations. It's about creating, evaluating, and analyzing messages in any format. So it's what kinds of things do you reference when you make online presentations? What's the purpose of it? Is it clear to the audience what the context is? That kind of thing. And then finally, media literacy is also about how media influences society. A lot of times you see this portrayed as a negative. It does not necessarily have to be so. The goal of media literacy is not to demonize technology. The goal is to recognize that technology is a part of our lives and can be used well as a tool. So that's media literacy. Let's talk a little bit about cancel culture, which I might add is not a new thing. So, according to the Pop Culture Dictionary, the current definition of cancel culture, and I'll give you some historical examples too, is this: it refers to the popular practice of withdrawing support, canceling public figures and companies after they have done or said something considered objectionable or offensive. So, notice the key of this definition is public figures and companies. So it's not supposed to be private people so much, but we all know that's really what is happening as well. So it's not just public people, it's private as well. Cancel culture is generally discussed as being performed on social media in the form of group shaming. So that's what's new about this, in that it's social media where the group shaming is happening. But as a society, we've had quite a few examples of group shaming, of society trying to enforce its rules by putting people down so that they obey, so that they conform. For example, during the Revolutionary War and the American Civil War, both wars, if you were caught as a deserter and brought back, your commander had absolute rights to brand you with a C. So they would find a C. They had, I don't even know if they like made these special for the army. That's one of the things I wonder about. Anyway, they would brand you with a C for coward so that other people could see that and reinforce what society felt, which is a coward is the worst thing you can be, especially during war, according to them. So that C was about public shaming. Same thing in Puritan times. If you know the story of the Scarlet Letter, the A on Hester's shirt, or on her, yeah, the A on her top stands for adultery. So another form of public shaming. So this isn't really new public shaming. What's new is how it's done. And it's social media. So meaning it's done on a more universal scale and on a faster scale. So a couple things to keep in mind. You're the first generation to have wide access to media out of context. So for example, and this surprises some of us in my generation, Generation X, we're kind of mystified at how much you all love Friends and Community. Both fun shows, by the way. But it's just interesting how it's a second wave of popularity because they showed up on Netflix. One key in viewing or creating online content, establish context clearly. So be real clear when you make things as to when you're making them and who they're for. So say it explicitly right toward the beginning so there's less confusions. Technically, if a company artist or a creator decides to change or remove a work before there's an outcry, technically that isn't cancel culture, that's more marketability. Something to consider as you think about this. So that's the definition and how it applies. So at this point, you folks get some time to think about these two concepts or talk about it with one another. If you want to share examples, you absolutely can. And then you're going to write at least one of your thoughts on that handout about media literacy and then cancel culture. What's your opinion? What did you conclude? You get the idea. After that, you have time to do two main things. One, get in any missing work, my class or others. And then two, you can start brainstorming on what kind of online presentation do I want to do next week? I'm going to start building it next week. What do I want to do? As I said, you can work with a partner or a group or on your own, entirely up to you. Your online presentation is going to be 1 to 2 minutes. And it's really open what kind of topic you want to do. I made some suggestions yesterday of like a promotion video for a sport or an activity. You could also, since we didn't share the storytelling speeches, if you wanted to condense it down to 1 to 2 minutes and share that, you absolutely could. If there is a skill you wish more people in Faribault had, you could show us that. It's really open what you do. So I would suggest you use your time to finish today's task, finish any other work, and then start brainstorming your online presentation. As always, I'm here if you need me. Go for it.